Questions for the UK government. If the 6 feet works, why the masks? If the masks work, why the 6 feet? If the tests work, why the false positives? If all 3 work, then why the lockdowns? If the lockdowns work, then why the rising figures under ever stricter restrictions? If all 4 work, then why the vaccine? If the vaccine is safe, then why no liability clause? Why no proper safety data? Why no informed consent? Why was the vaccine announced the day after Biden was proclaimed as president-elect? Why have the WHO reduced the cycle threshold on PCR testing the day after inauguration? Are we now testing in line with this recommendation? Does that explain the falling case figures? Why was hydroxychloroquine deemed to finally be safe and effective only after months of media denial of this? Why did the studies discrediting it come from one of the entities with a financial stake in vaccine production? Why do we keep following Neil Ferguson's flawed models when he breaks his own recommendations on more than one occasion? Why is there a trail of Bill Gates' money leading back to the organisations pushing these measures? Is this nefarious? Why do the government take advice from Vallance and Whitty, both of whom have a financial conflict of interest when pushing the direction of government policy? Why are there members in SAGE who are openly members of the Communist Party of Great Britain? How is SAGE meant to follow the best science when they are primarily made up of statisticians, mathematicians and behavioural scientists? Why have over 15,000 doctors now signed the Barrington Declaration, calling lockdowns the most disastrous and damaging public health policy in our lifetime? Why have we witnessed so much suppression and censorship of alternative facts and views relating to this disastrous chain of events, with little or no scrutiny of such arguments in the media? If these viewpoints are false, then what do you fear by proving them wrong? Why have the death rate totals been at very similar levels for the last 5 years or more? Why did the death rate start to increase shortly after the vaccine rollout? Look at Gibraltar. Why have at least 2 university-backed studies been suppressed that show we had around 50% prior immunity to COVID? After all the data from the last year has been added, the number who caught and recovered from the virus, combined with the prior immunity figures suggested by these studies, and the roughly now 15 million who have been jabbed, how have we not reached the 60% herd immunity target? The R number is currently below 1, isn't it? Does a death rate of less than 10 a day not constitute a flattening of the curve? Did this not happen in June 2020 before the mask mandates came in? Why did we not see spikes after protests and other mass gatherings last year? Why have there been no studies into the lie of asymptomatic transmission, except for one I could find in China, where over 9 million people took part? There was full track and trace in place, and they found zero evidence to support the idea of asymptomatic transmission. Why have we seen such disgusting 2-tier policing of certain measures? Why are the police now enforcing civil matters? At what point are you in government accountable? Why was CV19 downgraded from an HCID 4 days before lockdown, despite the most extreme response to a disease we've ever seen in all of history, pretty well? How is it right that people are still expected to pay the rent, bills, taxes, fines in full in many cases, when they are unable to earn their own money in full or live in an open and civilised society? Why have policies for focused protection of the vulnerable been trialled or explored? If not, why not? How are we going to support the vulnerable and those most in need of our care in the future if we have removed the economic prosperity needed to do so? Has SARS-CoV-2 been laboratory isolated and met Koch's postulates? How have suicide figures changed over the last 12 months? Why is this primarily affecting the Five Eyes countries? How many more times are you going to move the goalposts? Why are medical professionals who have serious and genuine concerns so fearful of speaking out? Why is there a wall of silence around these people? How do you sleep at night? I hereby give notice to the UK Government that if we have received no satisfactory attempt at answering these questions, no decisive 180-degree policy change or increased levels of accountability in either the media or the government, then as of the 23rd of March 2021, they can expect ever-increasing levels of peaceful non-compliance from myself and many others who are tired of not being able to get proper debate, scrutiny, oversight and leadership from those who allegedly have our best interests at heart. I question the logic of your actions. I no longer trust the motives or your agenda. I therefore call on all of those who can see that something is not right here to rise up and be counted. Please share this video as far and as wide as possible. Make your own version of it even. Add to the list of questions to include some of your own. I've barely scratched the surface with some of these. I'm not saying that what the questions allude to is 100% accurate, but we don't know. Until we get scrutiny and some proper debate on these matters, we're never going to know where we stand. Divided we fall, and this is another aspect of the division that is plaguing our society. We need to unite at this difficult time to agree to peacefully and patriotically push back against this perilously progressing policy of paranoia before we as a people become permanently paralysed by it. Peace. For now.